Let's say you poured all your money into a sushi restaurant, and all of a sudden a law comes out saying that every sushi restaurant must be an all-you-can-eat buffet. What? Totally random, right? Why would you do that? Nobody can just come off the street and have a couple of pieces, and they have to spend the exact same amount as everybody else. That seems arbitrary, and it seems unfair. Now, surely net neutrality is doing the exact same thing, right? We can't really justify doing this to ISPs, can we? Let's consider it.
I can't get it off my mind.
Hello, philosophers. I'm Chico, and welcome to the Philosopher's World, where we consider, from a philosophical perspective, current events. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to show you how to think. So in the last video, we explained a little bit about the different philosophical underpinnings of both sides of net neutrality. A brief review: FCC job is to expand the internet. One of their jobs is to expand the internet. 2015, they come out with rules saying internet service providers, Comcast, Verizon, at&t, are not allowed to block websites, to slow down websites for content, and they are not allowed to charge extra for faster internet. One price for all. So 2017, they roll back those rules. Now we're waiting for Congress to rule on it. The question is, should we repeal those rules? I'm going to give you the arguments for why we should keep those rules first. And then the next video, I'll give you arguments for why we should repeal those rules. Again, I'm not claiming that I agree with either side. All I'm trying to do is to make both sides as rational as possible and help you to think through this position. The first argument, I think that is most appealing to this view, is that it creates the fast lane for the rich. I would do air quotes with both hands, but my other hand's holding a computer. So what is this fast lane for the rich? It's if you pay more, if you are a big business, you can pay extra, you can get good internet service, and the rest of us schmoes, us philosophers probably, because we're dirt broke, right? The rest of us guys are not gonna, we're gonna have really bad service. So it's not fair, right? It's not fair that the rich people can have this. Here are the ways that the repealers respond to that. Number one, they would say, this actually might help you po folk, right? It might be the case that you don't want to stream a bunch of Netflix. You don't want to, suck up a lot of bandwidth. You just want to check your Facebook every day. Well, I can offer you an even cheaper package. Or let's say you're a gamer and you want super fast. Well, that's going to take a lot of bandwidth, but I can get it for you at a little bit extra. But if it's important to you, I can offer it to you. Now, a response that this view, the keep the new net neutrality people would say, is that, yeah, right, like that's not going to happen, right? It's not going to be like we benefit from that. Again, remember, the philosophical underpinnings of this belief system, or this view, I should say, not belief system, they're not in a religion, is that we should not trust big business. They're out to get the most money possible, and they're going to find ways to exploit that aren't putting out the best, cheapest product possible. So yeah, they wouldn't buy this objection. A second objection to this view is to say, or this argument I should say, is to say that it is fair. It's absolutely fair, right? You just don't like it. Right? Internet service providers are allowed to do whatever they want. It's not like they're cheating you in any way, right? They're doing their business. They're offering what they want to do, and you don't like it. Sorry, bummer. Your internet service isn't going to be horrible. It might be a little bit worse, but it's not going to be awful, right? So yeah, again, I'm not arguing for either side, right? I'm just giving you the different responses that you would see. A final objection they would give, and I think this is an interesting one, is that content providers do the exact same thing. What is a content provider? Well, the internet service providers just give you what somebody else has already made. The content providers are the ones coming up with that content, right? So, for example, whenever I make a video and I put on my Facebook page Chico the Philosopher or my Instagram, they are constantly hounding me to spend extra money to boost my post, right? That's exactly the same thing that ISP is trying to do, right? ISPers are trying to get extra money, and they're saying, I will offer you, your website will get up faster if you just give me that extra money. Well, so shouldn't we be mad at Facebook and Instagram? Now, a possible response to that is yes, we should. Right? Facebook should stop doing that. I'm not saying one way or another. It sure would be nice, but yeah, the response could be yeah, let's make rules for everything. Of course, remember the other side is the ones that want to repeal net neutrality think that any regulation is a bad thing. So you saying give us more regulations, and they're losing their minds. A pretty gnarly objection or argument for keeping these rules is that without these regulations, ISPs are allowed to block or slow whatever they'd like. That is a restriction on free speech. If I had a website that I wanted everybody to hear about, an ISP could block that website and nobody would even know the difference, or even if they slowed it. I mean, imagine how long do you wait for your web page to load before you just go somewhere else? So it's an infringement on free speech. An objection to this argument is that ISPs wouldn't do this because it's bad for business. Imagine you found out that Verizon or Comcast was blocking your favorite website. You might go with a different ISP. Of course, a response to that, I don't know about where you live, but I ain't got no options, man. You know what I mean? Like, there are so few ISPs. I've thought about that before. Like when my internet was slow, don't I have other options? Isn't there somebody else I could go with? So it might be the case that you just don't have those options. Another objection to this argument is that ISPs have the right to show you whatever the heck they want to show you. We don't make, for example, television channels show programs from every single perspective. So why should we force the internet to do so? Internet service providers, I should say. I don't know that the two situations are analogous in the relevant way. So we don't force television channels to show programs because they have 24 hours to deal with, and that's it. We might be able to have rules that websites that soak up small bandwidth should not be blocked because they just don't put the same tax on the system. The final argument that's given for keeping these net neutrality rules is that it makes it almost impossible for small businesses to compete. The internet service providers can gang up with all their different content providers and make it impossible for new websites to come out and sell their products or whatever they want to do. And so this would be a bad thing for small businesses. A couple of objections to that argument the repeal net neutrality guys would give. Number one is this is a problem across America, not just on the internet, right? The mom and pop shops are getting shoved out of the limelight left and right because we have these big businesses. So why put a regulation on the internet when this is just an America problem? A possible second objection you could give is that that's not the FCC's job, right? The FCC's job is to grow the internet. It's the Federal Trade Commission's job to worry about what's best for trade, right? So if we need to protect small businesses, FCC has no business making the rules on that. No business making rules. See what I'm saying? That was terrible. I apologize for that, everybody. Okay, so those are three arguments that the net neutrality folks give to keep the net neutrality rules. Those aren't the only three. Those are I would say those are probably three of the top ones. But if you want to see the rest of the arguments, please check out the Philosurfer.com. I'll put the link in the description. And here's what's kind of cool. I will compile to the best of my knowledge all the arguments for and against, the best and the worst, all of them, and give you an evaluation from a logician's perspective, from a philosopher's perspective, and you can comment there and tell me if I've missed anything or if I have been wrong about anything, and I can continuously update that, and then we can have a database. So I think that I'm pretty excited about that, actually. So yeah, please check out thephilosopher.com for more. And again, the best philosophy happens in dialogue. So please comment what you think about these arguments. Also, a few other questions for you. Is it fair to tell an ISP what it can and can't do? And if you could rework the net neutrality rules to something acceptable, what would that look like? So again, please subscribe. It really helps my channel. It helps me to be able to do stuff like this. Also, like, comment, and tag a friend so they can join the conversation. Adios.